Hello crafty friends, my name is Jessica and welcome back to my channel. Today I have for you the 5th installment in my Positively Saturated Color Blend ink series. For this one we are going to be using Celery, Limelicious, and Pearfection, and I'm going to be pairing it with the colors here. We're going to get some really unique colors by the end of this video, so I hope you stick around. Now, I start every video off talking about my favorite ink blending paper. That is Simon Says Stamp 130-pound cardstock. I love this cardstock for ink blending. It's got the best smooth surface for me, but I know there are others on the market. Now, as promised in the last video, I talked about how I was going to re-ink my inks so that you could see how I do it. Now, I've been re-inking my inks for years, and it started out with Stampin' Up! Products, so I learned how to do this from a demonstrator. Now, I'm not sure if this is the right way or the wrong way, but this is how I've been doing it. So I like to lay a lot of ink down. This one was a little bit hard to squeeze, but when it comes out really nicely, I like to leave a heavy line on one end and then use this bone folder that I can no longer use for folding paper because it's been a little bit abused, and use that to spread the ink across the ink pad. And this helps me get an even distribution. And then I don't know why, if it's science or not, but I like to tip the ink pads upside down so that that ink falls back to the surface. Like I said, I don't know if it's science or not, but that's how I like to do it. Now, I did go through and I inked up all of these ink pads that I'm going to be using today, and you're going to see that it's going to give me a really good result. When I think I was struggling in previous episodes, I have a feeling it's because my ink pads were not inked up well. Or at least one of the additions to the already previous things that I gave, such as stress, your environment, paper quality, all of that. So I'm just getting started with Celery here. Celery is one of the lightest colors in all of the Positively Saturated ink lines. This is definitely one of the colors I like to build a lot, and it does take quite a few little passes to really beef up the saturation of this color. But I love the colors all together, this Celery with Limelicious and Pearfection, and you'll see it here in a little bit. So I'm going back multiple times. Like I said, I like to build this color up because it is so light. So I'm going back a couple times to ensure that I'm getting the proper saturation. When it comes to ink blending tools, not only is the paper important, but the utensil that you're using to lay the color down is too. My preferred method of laying color down is using these Simon Says Stamp brushes. I also have used the Tailored Expression brushes previously with my Distress dye inks, and now I have washed them and used them exclusively with my oxides. But I prefer a brush method. There are foam blending tools out there that a lot of people use, and I've found that those are great for oxides, but I do prefer brushes with either ink. What I like about these Simon Says Stamp brushes is they are color coded to color family. I use one brush for color family. So in the current Positively Saturated ink line, there's approximately 4 to 5 different variations of green, and I use the same brush for all of those. I just make sure that I brush off on a paper towel, or actually I use a microfiber cloth before and after each use in order to ensure that I'm getting the truest color to lay down. I have yet to wash these particular brushes, and I've not experienced any issues with using these brushes with other dye-based inks, and that does include my Distress Original line and the Simon Says Stamp Original line. Now we're just finishing up these 3 greens for this trio, and I absolutely love this green combo. The lighter Celery all the way to that mid to dark colored Pearfection is perfect. And here's a close-up of it. So that's Celery, Limelicious, and Pearfection. Beautiful, beautiful spring greens. Now it's time for a quick cleanup. I do use Brutus Monroe Squeaky Clean for my waffle flower mat. It works great for getting it cleaned up in between ink blends, and it smells awesome. So trio number 2 is going to be Celery, Seafoam, and Flannel. I thought I would throw a gray in. We haven't done a gray yet, and grays need love too. So this turned out to be a really beautiful color combo. Very masculine, very light. Would look great with a dark stamp on it or a dark die cut. So the options are endless for this one. It does tend to lead more towards a masculine feel. Seafoam is another one of those light colors in this ink line. There are not very many. I would say, if I had to guess, probably 4 to 5 that are on the light side. So it does require a lot of building of that ink in order to get a full vibrant saturation. But what's nice about having these lighter colors is you can go in and have just a light wash of color. If you wanted to just create just a little bit difference between the white, these light colors are good for that. So I'm going in with Seafoam, and then I'm going to follow it up with Celery. What's fun about these two color combos is it almost looks like the Celery and the Seafoam are making a darker color in between. But the way that these inks dry back, that is going to smooth out and lighten. It's absolutely fun watching these inks dry over time. Sometimes you can kind of see it in my panels that I leave over into the left-hand corner. But they dry back so beautifully. At first, they look a little splotchy sometimes. You'll see that here with the gray. But towards the end of the video, when I lay all the panels out, you're going to see how smooth that they're starting to dry back. Now, this flannel is a great warmish gray tone. And I love how it paired with the Celery and the Seafoam here. It would even look really great embossed, and then hit the highlights with silver ink, that archival wax, foundry wax, that's it. That would look really cool, just hitting some of the highlights and give it kind of that distressed vintage look. All right, that's ink panel number 2. Like I said, that gray color looks a little splotchy, but towards the end, it's going to look a lot better. We're getting into panel number 3. Next, we're going to do Punch, Sunbeam, and Perfection. This is a fun color combo. This might be my favorite. We'll have to see, but I love the way the Punch and the Sunbeam mix together and how the Sunbeam and the Perfection. So similar to last week's episode, if you did watch that, I started in the middle, and that is because that is the lightest color of this trio. So that's why I'm starting with it, because I don't want to start with Punch, move into Sunbeam and then Perfection, and then find that I've over blended the two and barely have any panel of yellow. Starting with yellow is going to give me a thicker area to work with to blend those two colors and ensure that I'm keeping that true yellow in the middle. This color combo gives me such strong teacher vibes. Now we're a little bit a ways from Teacher Appreciation Day. It is May 7th this year, but every day is a great day to appreciate a teacher. They are raising and teaching our tiny humans, and so it's so important to ensure that we're giving them appreciation and thanks for doing such an outstanding job. Now we're adding this Punch color. This is one of the newer colors from the Simon Says Stamp release. I want to say it came out 1 or 2 releases ago, and it is a beautiful bright red. Is anybody else getting teacher vibes or apples? I see apples stamped on top of this in white or in black, and then maybe taking a paintbrush and using water to paint in the apples and then blot them off so you get that bleaching technique. That would look really, really pretty. Or just using apples cut out. Lots of ideas are flowing when I see this panel. How beautiful and bright. So that is Perfection, Sunbeam, and Punch. Then, as usual, we're going to do a quick cleanup and move into the 4th panel. Just to look back up to the left, you can see that gray area has lightened just a little bit. There's still a little bit of splotching, but I promise towards the end it's going to look even better. So trio number 4 is going to be Limelicious, Tropic, and Violet. Let me know in the comments below which of these panels is your favorite from this number series. This is series number 5, and if you haven't, I'll go ahead and pop a link up in the corner to the playlist that has all of the videos located in one spot. If you're new to the channel or you just haven't seen the previous ones, I encourage you to do so. I have full intention of using every trio from the series in a color blend series like this on YouTube so that, one, you can see how the colors look in real time or at least in video, and you can get some color inspiration along the way. One of the biggest questions I know I asked in the beginning of my card making journey was, what kind of inks did I want to commit to? I tend to be somebody, I'll be serious, I don't tend, I am a full set syndrome kind of girl. And so that means I don't just buy some here and there or buy the core colors. If I'm going to buy, I'm going to buy them all. So I knew I had to commit to a line that I was, one, going to love, and two, that was going to be relevant over time, because I knew that this was something I wanted to eventually do as a more of a hobby slash side hobby business. So I knew I needed colors that were going to take me far. And so I loved the Simon Says Stamp product line. And I committed to their original inks, which I'm very, very happy with them. But I wish there was more videos on the market explaining these inks and showing you the techniques you can do with them and the colors and the blending if they blend and all of that. It really helps to be fully educated when you are purchasing products like this, so that you're making sound judgment not only for your pocketbook, but for your peace of mind. So that is the fourth trio. That's Limelicious, Tropic, and Violet. Now I'm just going to do one final cleanup here using my pumpkin donut squeaky clean from Brutus Monroe, and clean up here and show you all four panels together. So those are the original three. We had Celery, Limelicious, and Pearfection. And now we're going to show each individual one after they've sat around and dried. Look at that color blend. It's seamless. It looks so incredibly good. Now here is the Celery, Seafoam, and Flannel. That color down there in the corner got a little bit lighter, and it'll continue to do so. Here is Punch, Sunbeam, and Perfection. Lovely teacher combo. And then last, Limelicious, Tropic, and Violet. Leave me a comment below on your favorite panel, and I appreciate you joining me today. Take care.